Okay, so a couple more modifiers and then I'll just give you some time to work on your project. Decimate is going to simplify complex meshes, takes the polygon count and reduces it right down. So they're at a factor of 0 and then a factor of 4. It takes those polygons and reduces them down. So we have something that is a high poly count. We just add create something. So you see very high poly count on this shape. Lots and lots of faces. If I add the modifier of decimate, where are we now? There we go. Decimate. Then I can change the ratio with this slider right here. And as I go down, it'll start to remove faces, but keep the overall shape as best it can. 0.01. Oh, 0.00. It's collapsed into nothing. 0.01. You can see it's overall keeping its shape. Even at 1/100th of the detail. And with that wireframe display, you can see there it is unsubdivided, there it is with the decimate. But if I apply a bit of shade smoothing, you can just about tell. You can, of course, tell. Yeah, it just removes all of the unneeded faces, you could say. And then again, it's not complete until it's applied down. And now there's my actual shape. Curve deforms an object along a curve. So we create a curved object and then an object that goes along it, it will try and match that curve. And I think I'm going to hide a bunch of things. Okay, so I'll just add a curve first. Curve, I'm using Shift A for the add menu. I'll add a curve of a Bezier. Same as going to the add menu, curve Bezier. And you'll see this little curve object appear. To modify the Bezier curve, we have to go to edit mode to make changes to it. Then we can see these two handles, or 2 points with 2 handles that we can move around, move, rotate, or scale. And we can add more points by extruding or by drawing. So we can extrude new points on the curve if we want it, and we can move. So it's kind of awkward to use. Adjust these handles by rotating or by selecting and moving with G. And I've just created this pipe using a cube. I subdivided, beveled the edges, and made an array to make it longer. I'm just going to apply this array. So I just have my tube. And then to this tube, I'm going to add a curve modifier. Deform curve. And then we just select our curve object. So it's the only one called Bezier curve. Now you see it's curving to that curved object. If I move this object around now, it's going to move along that curve. And I can still modify the curve in edit mode. Change how it's behaving. And yeah, and with an array, it'll still work the same way. So this object has an array. It's just this one little piece at the start, and it's going along this curve as well. So two of them in a stack. I can increase the count, and it'll just keep following that curve. And I can go in and modify the curve as well. I keep adding to it, keep extruding more onto it. I can make a very fast roller coaster. Again, with the array tool, just increase that count, and it's going to keep populating along that path. As in, animate this like thing growing. We could use the curve, yeah. You could have something follow the curve. That way, yes. Animate things along paths. Oh, quite a right angle there. Then again, I just go back into my curve. Any areas that are looking too weird. Get into edit mode on the curve itself. I can say, oh, that looks a bit strange. I could rotate that maybe. Twist those handles until things are looking more correct. So, curve. Displace. This is where we create texture from images and actually displace geometry based on that. So for that, a little bit harder to control sometimes. Just hide all of these. I'll just add a plane to be displaced. And in order for the displacement to work, I need geometry. So I'm going to need to subdivide my plane. So into edit mode. Right click, subdivide, and I'll just go by 99. 99 subdivisions. Then I want to add the modifier displace under deform as well. And then it's going to look for the image that I'm going to use for displacement. I've added a new texture. Just click the plus, but there's no texture loaded in. I'll need to go down to my texture properties and load a texture in. So I'll give this the name displace texture. Display text. So I know this is the displace text I'm adding the image to. Display text is selected, so that's good. I can open an image. There's an image by Moebius. I can see it there, and I probably can't see it because I'm in edit mode. I'll go back to object mode, and now I can see the image, sort of. I also load in my level sketches. You can sort of see that information. The reason we can't see it is we just don't have enough geometry. So I could go back and subdivide more, or I can use one of our ready-made modifiers, subdivision surface. And because it's below, it's not giving any more detail, it's just smoothing off what's already there. If I put the subdivision surface above, move to first, it'll subdivide first and then do the displacement. Put that up in the stack, and now much more detailed. Go up to 2 levels, slightly more detailed. And you can see it has made the deformations. We can change the strength of that. And the mid-level, which is the ground level. Lower the strength down to 1 or 0. And now I've got my little relief painting. Going up to level 4. Much crisper, much cleaner. And that's essentially what displacement mapping is. It takes image textures and raises or lowers it. And then we find a way to simulate that. But there it's actually creating the geometry of it. Or we can do stuff with the mapping and sampling over here with the crop. I want to change how much or how little of that sketch is being used. There, that's the displace modifier. I think we have one more. Shrink wrap. It takes an object and shrinks it around another surface. So useful for creating clothing or anytime you want an object to bond to another object's surface. Basically conform the object surface to another object surface. So we have an object. So yeah, we want to shrink an object to another object surface. We select the object we want to shrink to, which would be the red thing in the center here. Add shrink wrap, which would be in deform. And then just select your target object, in this case cylinder 1. Oh, and that's gone the opposite way. So that is now moving to conform to that outer shape. I should have selected the object I want to shrink. Shrink wrap, and then select that object cylinder. Now it's shrinking to fit that surface perfectly, and we can add some offset. We don't want it to actually shrink perfectly to that center. So it's close, but not quite. Bless you. So we've already said you can stack modifiers. We've shown how moving them out of order and in order to get different effects. So they're going to run in the order that they're placed in. The first one runs first, and the second one after that. Applying modifiers, you need to apply them when you want to export to a different software and if you want to work with them in certain ways. So all of them, they get applied in the same way. There's a little drop-down menu for applying modifiers. So tips for using modifiers: keep them active until the last moment, until you don't need them anymore. So it'll give you more flexibility. The order matters, as I've said. Order modifiers affects the final output. For example, subdivision surface will behave differently if placed above or below a mirror modifier. And then use the eye icon next to each modifier to toggle visibility in different modes, in edit mode or in object mode, so you can see what the original is looking for. Modifiers are powerful tools that can help you create complex models efficiently in Blender. Experiment with different modifiers and see how they can enhance your workflow and improve your modeling techniques. Happy blending. So for the rest of the class, I'll just give you some time to work on your submission.